Hey listeners, this is Peter, and welcome back to the History Shorts podcast. This humble show is brought to you by the Podcast Republic, your ultimate listening app. Discover and subscribe to thousands of podcasts from around the world, including this one, and all in one place. Download Podcast Republic today, available on Google Play and the Apple App Store. Today on History Shorts. A labyrinth so vast, it made the pyramids seem small. A wonder so mysterious that even ancient travelers doubted it could be real. And a question that still haunts archaeologists today. Did Egypt once build a structure greater than all of its monuments combined? This is the story of the lost Labyrinth of Egypt, the forgotten wonder buried beneath the sands of Hawara.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
To the ancient world, Egypt was a land of marvels. But among its many wonders, none captured the imagination quite like the labyrinth. According to Herodotus, the Greek historian who visited Egypt around 450 BCE, it was and I quote, a structure surpassing even the pyramids, end quote. He claimed it contained 12 great courts, all roofed and surrounded by walls, with 3,000 chambers, half above ground and half below. In the subterranean halls, Herodotus said, were the tombs of kings and the sacred crocodiles of Sobek, the crocodile-headed god of the Fayum region. He described the corridors as bewildering, endless passages and winding ways, so complex that no visitor could find their way out without a guide. Other ancient writers confirmed this awe. Diodorus Siculus and even Pliny the Elder all spoke of this house of the spirit, the Labyrinth of Hawara, as one of the great architectural wonders of the ancient world. And yet, its stones, its walls, its treasures, all appear to have vanished. The labyrinth was not a mythic creation of imagination. It was, in all likelihood, the masterpiece of a real Egyptian ruler, Amenhotep III, the last great pharaoh of the Middle Kingdom. He reigned around 1850 BCE during Egypt's 12th dynasty, an era of stability, prosperity, and astonishing engineering achievement. Amenhotep III transformed the Fayum oasis, a fertile depression west of the Nile, into a royal heartland. Through vast irrigation projects, he expanded farmlands and built canals to harness the waters of the nearby lake. At the southern edge of the oasis, near the modern village of Hawara, he erected his mortuary temple. According to the ancient sources, this was the labyrinth. The temple complex was meant to serve both as a palace of the gods and as the pharaoh's eternal resting place. It was built of limestone and granite, with colonnades, shrines, and chambers that reflected the cosmic order of Egypt itself, a microcosm of the universe, constructed in stone. But the pharaoh's masterpiece would eventually fade from history, buried beneath its own magnificence. For centuries, the exact location of the labyrinth was forgotten. Travelers to Egypt searched in vain, until the 19th century at least, when European explorers began combing the Fayum for clues. In 1888, the legendary British archaeologist Flynn Petrie arrived at Hawara. His excavations uncovered the pyramid of Amenhotep III, weathered but still impressive, and the remains of a vast mortuary complex beside it. What Petrie found matched ancient descriptions: enormous stone foundations, broken columns, and the remnants of massive walls that hinted at something far larger than an ordinary temple. He wrote, and I quote, There is no doubt that this was the place of the great labyrinth described by the classical writers." End quote. But the structure itself was gone. The polished limestone that had once formed its corridors had been quarried away by later generations, repurposed for other temples, cities, and even Cairo's medieval mosques. All that remained were traces, the ghost of a wonder that had once stood at the crossroads of myth and history. 4 decades after Petrie's work, Hawara seemed to hold no more secrets. But then in the early 2000s, new technologies revived the legend. A Belgian research team led by archaeologist Louis de Cordier and supported by the Mataha expedition conducted advanced ground-penetrating radar surveys around the Hawara pyramid. Their findings startled the archaeological community. Beneath the sand and the flood layers of the Bahr Youssef Canal, they detected what appeared to be a vast substructure of grid-like patterns, massive, rectangular anomalies stretching hundreds of meters long. Was this the foundation of the labyrinth, or merely geological formation? The data suggests artificial construction, a buried architectural complex aligned with Amenemhat's pyramid, possibly the lower chambers described by Herodotus himself. But further excavation was halted. Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities restricted access to the site, citing preservation concerns and the high water table that threatened the ruins. And so, the mystery endures. The lost labyrinth may still lie hidden, sealed beneath the silt and waterlogged sands of Hawara. If ancient sources are to be believed, the labyrinth wasn't just a maze. It was symbolic architecture, designed to embody Egypt's vision of the universe. Each court represented one of the nomes, or providences of Egypt, uniting the nation's divisions into a single divine structure. The lower chambers, reserved for priests and royalty, were thought to mirror the underworld itself, where gods judged the souls of the dead. The labyrinth, in essence, was both a map and metaphor, a stone recreation of cosmic order where the king, gods, and people were bound together in sacred symmetry. To walk its corridors was to move through creation itself, to enter the mind of the divine. Its sheer complexity was so overwhelming that Herodotus confessed, "I found it beyond description," he said. "Words cannot do it justice." Even in ruins, its legend continues to echo, a monument not just for engineering, but of belief. Though it vanished from view, the Labyrinth of Egypt may have inspired the Greek myth of the Minotaur centuries later. When Greek travelers like Herodotus return home with tales of an Egyptian labyrinth of endless corridors, those stories may have merged with older Aegean myths, giving rise to the legendary maze of King Minos. Even today, the echoes of Amenemhat's great complex ripple through our imagination, in literature, film, and the very word labyrinth itself, now a symbol for mystery, confusion, and the search for truth. Hopefully, today's episode has inspired you to seek out and learn more about this subject. For answers to questions, sources for today's episode, to leave a comment, or check out upcoming guest announcements, visit www.historyshortspodcast.com or look for History Shorts Podcast on Facebook, X, or Patreon. Stay curious, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.